MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here.
Well, former President Edgar Lungu decided to pay a surprise visit on Edith Nawakwi and her family. So that's the picture that he shared accompanying his statement with regard to his visit. So that's Edith Nawakwi and the rest of her family there. So Edgar Lungu said this in his caption, said, "Fellow citizens, earlier today I paid a surprise visit to my dear sister, Honorable Edith Nawakwi, at her residence in Lusaka. Honorable Nawakwi has not been feeling well in recent days, and I felt compelled to visit her and her family to show support from one comrade to another. I was happy to find her in very high spirit, recovering quite well by the grace of God. I have since wished her a very best of health and coupled with God's infinite blessings as we continue in our quest of fighting for a better Zambia that is beneficial to the citizens or wherever they reside. God bless Edgar Lungu, 60th President of the Republic of Zambia, PF President, and UKA member." So that's what happened with that regard. But one person that seems to be trending for all the wrong reasons is Minister of Health, Silvia Masebo. She's been in the news the past 48 hours. I tried to ignore the story to let it, but nah, I had to report on it. So here are the details with regard to what's happening with regard to Silvia Masebo. But one of the posts that seems to be trending from the president, the current president, that is President Hakainde Hichilema, is this post, which was posted on December 17th, 2019. So Hakainde Hichilema had written at the time saying, according to Mr. Edgar Lungu, we ran a cult. Well, let's give it to him. In our cult, we do not tolerate corruption. In our cult, we do not tolerate lying. In our cult, in our cult, we hate load shedding. In our cult, we hate high minimum prices. In our cult, we hate it when retirees are not paid their monies. We hate it when 2.3 million Zambians are on the verge of starvation. Fellow cult members can have a high five. Unkamamichi cult, Hakainde Hichilema signs it off at the time. So this particular post was coming from, if you remember, for a while, President Hakainde Hichilema was accused to be a cultist, like a person who practices Freemasonry and stuff like that. So that's where that particular pun was coming from, this post, where you're saying, being accused of this, well, and then he put up to say, we don't tolerate that, since that's what you want to dub me as. But over time, he has pushed away these allegations to say he's not a cult member, neither does he run a cult, and he's a church elder in the Seventh-day Adventist over and over time. So you'd see the president make statement to say, you people accuse me not to be Christian. The other time when you're quoting a verse where to say you're expecting to experience 7 years of hunger and 7 years of blessings. And then he also mentions to say, don't you know that Bible verse, since you accuse me of not being Christian, I'm a serious church elder. So that's what that particular post was coming through. So one thing that stood out from this particular post, why it's resurfaced and people are sharing it, is the element of corruption, to say they hate corruption, but it's proving contrary at the moment. So this was posted by Emmanuel Mwamba. Those containers that you see on screen are alleged to be containing medicine that was supposed to be distributed in public health institutions in Zambia. So it was already purchased, and then here are the details. So Emmanuel Mwamba posted, ZAMSA says the containers arrived between January and April 2024. So that's when those containers of medicine were applied. So that during the time that the country was experiencing shortages of medicine, it just turns out that the medicine was already in the country, but it was being kept. So update on the offloading of 61 containers of medicine and any signs of say Lusaka 19th July 2024. 25 out of the 61 containers marooned at the JJ depot in Makeni have been successfully transported and offloaded at the Zambia Medicines Association Supply Agency warehouse. So the story behind this is with regard to the fact that the medicine is worth an amount that was not disclosed. I mean, that has been disclosed, and yet it wasn't, transported to the right destination. So he followed that up with Silvia Masebo, because the president later on he transferred 2 ministers in 2 different ministries. And then Emmanuel Momba asks a question to say, Nga Masebo, asking, what about Masebo? And she doing anything with regard to Silvia Masebo, with all the scandals that seems to be emanating from the Ministry of Health. So Emmanuel Momba says, Nga Masebo, President Hichilema swaps ministers. President Hakainde Hichilema has transferred the Honorable Peter Akapara, MP, to the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, and Honorable Makozo Chikote, MP, to the Ministry of Energy with immediate effect. The President implores and directs the ministers to discharge their functions with due diligence in their new portfolios. So those 2 changes, people are like, wait, nothing has happened in the 2 ministries. The changes that people were expecting were either in the Ministry of Health or Ministry of Finance. I'll show you the details where all that is coming from. So this blindsided people to say, what does the Ministry of Energy and the 2 have to do with anything? But anyway, we move. He went further to say, he was commending the president. This is Emmanuel Mwamba, still commending the president to say, with regard to removal of Kapara from the Ministry of Energy. And it says he had already issued Emmanuel Mwamba says, in November 2023, we reported Minister of Energy, Peter Kapara, to the Anti-Corruption Commission to be investigated for abuse of power. Kapara had, without following tender procedures, been awarding contracts to fuel supply and companies without tender procedures. He has also he was also signing a letter of award of consolation contrary to the Public Procurement Act and the Cabinet Handbook that regulates ministries' role and their responsibilities. Other stakeholders had petitioned Kapala, asking the Chief Justice to constitute a tribunal to probe the alleged misconduct against him. So he simply says he had reported this in 2023. How come this is when the president is acting on it? So that is Emmanuel Mwamba there making a comment with regard to those 2 ministry swaps. But one person that that people are wondering to say, how come Silvia Masebo, with all the allegations that she's had over time, how come nothing is happening to her? Not a transfer, not a reprimand, nothing. What's going on there? So people are asking, what sort of leverage does she have over the president for nothing to happen? Because it seems to be otherwise. So Chief Etari says, President Hichilema knows how corrupt and incompetent Silvia Masebo is, but he is scared to fire her. Now, the question one would ask is, say, why is he scared to fire her? So these are just assumptions that people start making. If they see something going wrong and the appointing authority is not acting upon an individual, you go and do transfers in 2 ministries that have nothing related to what's going on in the nation. People start speculating. Obviously, you expect Chief Etari to push such a propaganda. And expect it. When you look at the comments to what Chief Etari had posted there, you look at this guy, the first comment just down there, he says, it's like she knows a lot about him, and just like Zambians are suffering in the name of keeping their friendship. So now people start making assumptions to say probably Silvia Masebo has some sort of leverage over President Hakainde Hichilema for him not to act on all these misconducts. Because if you remember, even during the the cholera outbreak, there were scandals that had emanated from that. The volunteers that were volunteering in the health centers were not the ones who were picked. Some new list was come up with it. Just scandals in the ministry, and nothing was done. Now here comes another one, and nothing is being done. Because even the Parliament Committee has also recommended certain things to regard. So President Hakainde Hichilema must dissolve cabinet and make a new one from his backbenchers. So people now are saying to say, seems like this current cabinet is kind of weak. Now that it starts shifting ministries and stuff like that, because as a chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee of Health and Community Development and Social Services, Lukulu Member of Parliament Dr. Christopher Kalita led the committee to establish that the availability of medicine and medicine supplies laboratory in the health facilities. The committee also is looking at the deployable state of hospitals and equipment. So pretty much that's where that recommendation came from. So that parliamentary committee also made that there's need for the president to just make a new cabinet. Obviously, that's an interesting individual that has been posted there. So this is now Mausa, but also weighing in on the issue that's currently prevailing in the nation. It's been trending the past 48 hours. You can't ignore it, even if you wanted to, because it just moved from that resignation that came from the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Director General. Then the president, a couple of hours later, dissolved the entire body of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Then the Masebo issue came up also from the Ministry of Health. So Mausampa alleges to say, if this man, the owner of Yashi Pharmacies, pharmaceuticals, and Mr. Patel connived to hide the containers of medicine from Egypt bound for government hospitals, then that is called treason. So he says the allegation is treasonous, actually, because it's attempted murder for Zambians that are sick and were deprived of medicine in the days the medicine containers were hidden for storage purposes. Guess so government can place or continue relying on orders from his company, Heartless. So he says that's a most alleges that's the individual that had hidden those containers after they landed in the country. So government had paid them for the containers from Egypt, the medicine, which was supposed to go to the health facilities. Then that individual allegedly took those containers and he put them in his storehouse and started reselling the medicine to the government. So government was paying twice, allegedly. So yeah, that is his picture there. That's Mao Sampa, Member of Parliament for Matero constituency. And then he goes further. This is still Mao Sampa. He says, Manje in Somba Zasoba Fisheries Ministry. So the question is asking to say, what's happening? Why the change between Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Fisheries? Those two ministries are not related to what's controversy that's going on in the nation right now. The controversy is in regard to the Ministry of Health. So it says he's pretty much mocking the situation to say, in some over community fisheries. And then another person comments on Mao Samba's post saying, countries are begging, now he quotes President Hakainde Hichilema, a statement that he had made earlier on during his presidency. Countries are begging me to help other countries achieve what I've done in Zambia, HH, obviously, and then people laugh reactions there. I'm sure you can see that. Now Sampa continues, medicine containers worth 65 million US dollars bought for public hospitals from Egypt upon arrival in Zambia, hidden at a private company warehouse. Same company then started reselling the medicine to ZAMSA. So the Zambia was paying twice for the same medicine. So pretty much that allegation that he had made, he followed it up with that. So the amount of money that's involved in this scandal is 65 million US dollars. No matter how rich you are, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. And the Patriotic Front asks, they say, Honorable Silvia Masebo has the best job security in the world, missing 65 million US dollars expenditure, and you still report for work the next day. So people just laugh it off. And then Kasumba Mutenda in the comment section saying, Masebo is the biggest culprit in all this mess. But knowing about Church Elder, referring to President Hakainde Hichilema, nothing will happen to her. And I really miss Mwanawasa. The man was very solid. So if you remember, I was referring to President Patrick Mwanawasa. He did not want anything to do with corruption because such information is presented to the president before it even makes the public. People from the OP and Corruption Commission report to the president. So this information comes to the president. That's why you find Mwanawasa just wakes up, a minister has been fired, a vice president has been fired. Manawasa ended up having about, is it 2 vice presidents? Nevers was fired, and is it Kavindere or a number of people? He did not play with things like this. Once he receives the information, the public will find out why the person was fired later on, not the other way around. The public finds the information, then the president reacts. Same thing with the anti-corruption pod. That information the president obviously had prior to the public, but once it trended and then the public reacted, that's when the president ends up dissolving the board. That's not how it's supposed to be. It begins to look fishy to the public, to say, well, how come he's only reacting after things have happened in the public? And then Mao Sampa goes further to say, yesterday, Anti-Corruption Commission and Director General left, and now the entire body gone. So you see that. So it's very interesting. It looks like damage control. Someone, Joseph Tembo, says it's interesting, damage control at its worst. This is where the point I was trying to prove. This is by Joseph Tembo responding to Mao Sampa's post. So he says, Joseph Tembo says, very interesting, damage control at its worst. The president is privy to all confidential information about what's happening from OP operatives. Anti-corruption is under his direct supervision. Definitely, he was aware of the ongoing, but because of the people running the institutions or the people running the bodies, he felt, constrained to act on it. So now people start making allegations or assumptions to say maybe that's why he can't act, because they have some sort of leverage over him that he cannot act. And then Mao Sampa says, firing is what we were expecting, Mr. President. So he says that shuffle that is happening around the ministries is not what people want. The public wants, if a person has committed a crime or is alleged to be involved in some sort of corruption, the only thing is to fire that individual. Then we move on. Not to where he starts shuffling. It begins to look like the president has some things to do with things. Maybe he might not even have anything to do. This is his first term. So he might want to preserve their friendships in the second term, not in the first term. Because now the people that are neither aligned to Edgar Lungu nor aligned to Hakainde Hichilema, that just vote objectively based on what's happening in the nation, start questioning the president. How come he's only reacting after effect when he has prior information? Chief Etari goes further to say, can you remember and compare and contrast 10 marks, obviously reposting the same post that I had earlier read of the president saying he did not tolerate corruption. And another allegation that has come up, this is by Kasonde Mwenda, president of the EFF. He says, President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND government building a $21 million hospital abroad, while a university teaching hospital cancer center is abandoned, leading to 8,750 cancer deaths yearly in Zambia. Kasonde Mwenda, EFF president. So he puts up an allegation to say another scandal that's happening in the Ministry of Health. This is a revelation coming from EFF president, say allegedly President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND are building some hospital somewhere, and he puts up the country. I put up this article later on. It's wild out here. A lot is going on in the Ministry of Health. It will be good for the president either to sideline Silvia Masebo, even if he likes her at this point, because it's not looking good for him. What else is here? This was posted by the Phoenix FM Zambia. Says government property forfeiture approach cited as a reason for the rise in corruption among officials. So they put up an article to say, according to governance activist Bill Kapinga, has attributed to the rise in corrupt practices among us government officials, government officials, with its practice to prioritizing the forfeiture of property perceived to be proceeds of crime over imprisonment and sentences instead of sentencing those people. And then he cited various high-profile cases, including the 65 million Faith Sonda case, and the these are million US dollars, by the way, and 42 million US dollars of former KCM liquidator Milingo Lungu case, among others, ended with the alleged perpetrators walking away free after surrendering some of their properties. So that individual says one of the reasons why these corruption cases seems to be prominent is because people are not being persecuted. Once they are caught, they make a deal, they forfeit some of the monies, and they go scot-free. And that's what he says there. It's a valid argument anyway. It is. People are supposed to go to prison for things like this, not where you're caught stealing. You say, no, I'll give you 50% of whatever, and then you go scot-free. Anyway. And then with regard to Rwanda, if you remember should like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Rwanda gave Zambia some maize, but it seems like there was another side of that deal. So Emmanuel Mwamba posted this to say, President Hakainde Hichilema gives Rwanda 10,000 hectares of Zambian land. 10,000 hectares of Zambian land has been allotted to the Republic of Rwanda. When Rwandan ambassador to Zambia is Excellency Emmanuel Bubingo. So he attaches a video of the ambassador to Rwanda thanking the people of Zambia for the 10,000 hectares that they've been given. And then someone chants in the comment section, in short, Twachinja Impanga na Mataba. And then he just laughs it off. He said, so laughing at Zambians to say, how do you exchange land for maize? Because that's what that deal looks like anyway. We wait and see more details to come from that thing. Otherwise, it's not looking good. How do you exchange maize for land, allegedly? So more details are supposed to come from Minister of Agriculture to say what sort of deal this is with regard to Rwanda. Mausamba posted, say Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Zambia sign a tourism agreement. Tourism Minister Rodney Sikumba represented our Republic president at the signing ceremony in Harare this morning. Like the diplomatic small misunderstanding not resolved yet, we must work to resolving it. No misunderstanding is beyond resolution. So he simply says if other two presidents went to Zimbabwe, President Hakainde Hichilema could not travel because of, if you remember, Mnangagwa at some point made a statement to say he wanted Vladimir Putin to come and set up a base in Zimbabwe because he was afraid that Zambia had allowed the United States to set up a base in Zambia, which was a threat to their country. So he says that wrangle between Mnangagwa and President Hakainde Hichilema hasn't been resolved. That's why President Hakainde Hichilema could not attend this meeting and sent a Minister of Tourism. And then someone in the comment section, Derek Cheko comments saying, cost-saving measures. If he travels, it's why a lot of money is spent once the president travels. So you're simply saving money. That's one argument to that. And then Emmanuel Mwamba also doubles down on the same post. He says, we mwana, we saw so simply asking, where's your father, meaning President Hakainde Hichilema? Why has he sent you to a meeting of presidents here? But the pictures from the meeting seem delightful. The minister did a good job. I mean, it's a preview of the president to decide whether he wants to go or not, as long as the deal has been signed. Zambia has been represented, so those are trivial matters. If they decide never to resolve their issues between Mnangagwa and Hakainde Hichilema, that's all good, as long as a country we're doing business with Zimbabwe and at that level, regardless of who represents the country, the work has to be done. So those are mini politics, if you ask me. And then in the news diggers say, you cannot root out corruption in 2 years, 11 months, Hakainde Hichilema quotes. Some people survive on it. So this argument again, people, how do you say that honestly? To say, because one of the brands that put President Hakainde Hichilema into presidency was the non-tolerance to corruption. People even praised him to say he was equal to Patrick Mwanawasa. But this is proven contrary to that brand. How do you just start justifying to say you cannot root out corruption in that period of time when people have been cited several times? At least even if you say that, people should see action happening. The person that needs to be fired is fired, and not where he starts shuffling people. And anyway, we wait and see how that plays out. So that was in the news diggers. And then Emmanuel Mwamba had put up a comment to say economic joke. So and then he says, Kajam Mines pays Industrial Development Corporation 38 million kwacha, which is simply 1.5 million US dollars, as dividends. Kajam Mining Limited, based in Ufanyama, Zambia, is the world's single largest producing emerald mine. Kajam is 75% owned by Gemfields and 25% owned by ZCCMIH, which is pretty much Zambia. In 2022, the Kajam mine produced a total of 37.2 million carats of emeralds, and then another one, premium emeralds. So he says this is a joke for 1.5 million US dollars to be submitted as the dividends from such mines. So as you expected, Australian ambassador to Zambia, Elias Munsha, commented to say, "Kutua papa, imwe joke ni mwewo." He responds to Bano Mwamba. How much dividends were declared in your time, in your government? He asks, and then Bano Mwamba responds to him. It says, during the he puts up statistics. So in 2013, these are two former ambassadors. No, Elias Musha is the current ambassador to Australia. Emmanuel Mwamba is the former ambassador to South Africa during Edgar Lungu's camp. So there have been an argument there. So Emmanuel Mwamba responds to Musha, says, in 2013, Gemstone Fields PLC is pleased to announce that Kajam Mining Limited, Zambia, largest emerald producer, and in which Gemfield has 75% interest, has declared and paid a dividend worth $8 million US to the government of the Republic of Zambia. So he says $8 million US was paid then. How come it has been reduced to 1.5 when the value of the minerals is going up? So people just laugh it off there. What else is here? The Vice President, Mtalena Lumango, says increase in suspicious transactions disseminated by the Financial Intelligence Center does not mean UPND is corrupt, because there are certain factors like inflation at play. And the Vice President Lumango says the dissolution of the Anti-Corruption Commission Board was necessary because the commission had a dent, and it was the best to dissolve it. But this justification again from the from the Vice President, how do you justify to say yes, the money was stolen, but it just looks big based on the off inflation? Oh goodness me, hi man, it was but anyway, so that's the argument there. So Emmanuel says Vice President W. Whitaker Mtaina Lumango says the increase of corruption cited in the financial intelligence costs can be attributed to the rise in inflation. So he says she says the figures just look big because of inflation. But regard the underlying tone is corruption. Whether it looks like no, it's more money, but that money has been stolen allegedly. So obviously they even caught what's this Anthony Ward laughing at the same post. I hope he didn't do that. He's likely to be fired, because if you remember, this was the spokesperson for Hakainde Hichilema. He was demoted to be deputy ambassador in Tanzania or somewhere like that. So if he's laughing at such posts and he's still serving in government, he's likely to be fired. I hope the PF just edited that, or he has removed that laughter. He put this is on the news diggers post. Obviously, a number of people laugh at the same thing. I just hope this is edited. If Anthony Warrior is actually did that, it will not end well. He's likely to be fired. But I hope this is just propaganda being pushed by the PF, trying to say I'd love to at that post of the Vice President. And then the PF obviously captions say everyone is laughing at this statement by the Vice President, including Anthony Warrior, former spokesperson to Hakainde Hichilema. I doubt he did that. But anyway, they put up his profile to say amongst the people that were laughing at that particular post. More Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu, heartless. You are both cruel to Zambians and do not love your country. Charges Nguni. So that's in the mass newspaper. What else is here? Say Hichilema's fight against corruption is in itself corrupt, says Silvia. This is the Golden Party president. And then Namango says, I am not a beneficiary of corruption and I do not intend to. That is Namtai Nalumango. That is fine if you're not a beneficiary of corruption and you don't intend to, but you are holding the second highest position in government. So you cannot use as that leverage. You have got the power to suggest people that's supposed to be removed, because now everyone looks corrupt in this case. So that justification does not stand, honestly, Madam Vice President. And then obviously the same news, HH sends Kapala to fisheries and those things. Oh, what else is here? Vendetta left a debt of 1.5 billion US dollars, and ZRA, ZESCO, and NAPSA and others. How is it clearing this before celebrating the 250 million profit that it has made or declared to government? That is Emmanuel Mwamba there. Because if you see in this particular, so Vendetta deposits 245.75 million US dollars into designated escrow account, which is pretty much a government account there. And then Hari Kalava also says, we have serious corruption at Ministry of Health and Finance, but he makes changes at fisheries. Is this serious? Isabi Muchive. Then he laughs it off. No, President Hakainde, I know a lot of people from State House watch this channel. And please, whoever loves the president, advise the president. This is not looking good, honestly. It's not. It's not. It's not looking good for the president. Let him act decisively. This is not looking good. Then obviously, Piri there, Mukanda Piri says, Salakwachan is somber. Obviously, now people are just laughing it out. Say, the problem is on the left, you start dealing with something on the right. Anyway, Mao Sambarabi shares the explosion. There's obviously those PF drama still going on there. What else is in the news today? We won't relent as President Hakainde Hichilema retaliates government determination to fight corruption. This is in the Zambia Daily Mail. What else is here? 70 million Egyptian drug deal exposed. So that's still talking about the scandal happening in Silvia Masebo's Ministry of Health. This is in the Daily Nation. State corruption cover-up. Obviously, these guys now start talking, the ones that have been, the board that has been dissolved. More is yet to come out of that. But it's not looking good for the president. The best thing he can do is to distance himself from this, fire the necessary people, so that the people that are neutral, that are neither for Edgar Lungu nor for Hakainde Hichilema, just the people that just love Zambia, can actually see, no, the president is not involved, because right now it looks like he's shooting some individuals. Well, Mo Sampa later on says, I'm a grade 7 teacher at Matero Primary School. Mr. Lewis Semani came to visit me at Parliament. He's also taught Honorable Josephine Mwakalombe and made us pass grade 7. Oh, thank you, sir. So his former teacher came to visit him at Parliament. Anyway, that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. If anything comes up, I'll keep you posted. Have a lovely weekend.